Many people ask why I lost interest in Pokémon, but I never reveal the real reason. I often reply that I lost interest because I grew up, but that's not true at all. I think the best way to accept what I saw that day is to talk about it. And that's why I'm doing this. Here's the story of the Pokémon cartridge that ruined my love for the series, Pokémon Putrid Yellow version. I worked at a video game store in my city for over a year and a half without issues. The worst thing was when people tried to steal games. One day, while I was alone in the store, a 10-year-old boy came in. He held a Game Boy cartridge. I was surprised, since most kids his age didn't know what a Game Boy was. So for him to actually own one. I asked if he needed help, and he said he needed someone to fix his game because it wasn't working. I asked if he got the game at our store, but he didn't know since his father gave it to him. Normally I wouldn't have accepted, but then I noticed that the cartridge was for Pokémon Yellow. I couldn't deny a child his Pokémon adventure. I asked him what was wrong with the game, and he told me that his Pokémon kept dying. I thought he was confusing that with losing battles when I looked at him. I pretended nothing was wrong and told him I'd tried to fix his cartridge, though I couldn't promise anything. The young boy gave me his name and phone number, then he left the store. I automatically put the game in my registers drawer. That night as I closed up, I threw the game in my backpack. I couldn't wait to get home to play this game I hadn't played in years. With any luck, its problem was what I thought it was. It probably had a weak team and was losing all its battles. If that was all it was, I was going to be able to fix it very quickly and become that young boy's hero. So I went home and found my old Game Boy, the one I used when I was a kid. I put in new batteries and searched my bag for the cartridge. As I was about to insert it, something caught my eye. Usually, the sticker just has a regular Pikachu. But here, its eyes were scratched out, which made it look especially creepy. I tried to believe it was a coincidence, but it still made me uneasy. I also felt something particularly strange. I felt like I was being watched. I shivered, but I kept going. And I started the game. The game began as usual with the Game Freak logo and intro music. And when I got to the title screen, everything went silent. I didn't notice it at first. Then I selected the current game save, but it didn't open. Only a message appeared saying the file was corrupted. That was odd, since the little boy said everything was fine there, and his only problem was his Pokémon dying. I tried several times, but nothing worked. I was starting to get extremely frustrated, so I started a new game. The new game, on the other hand, worked perfectly. No glitches or issues at first. In Pallet Town, I was suddenly teleported to the city's outskirts without doing anything. It reminded me of the famous MEW glitch. I figured the kid had intentionally glitched the game, causing these issues. I walked around the outskirts of the city, and to my surprise, the glitch was definitely active. And a wild MEW appeared. The city outskirts music played instead of the usual battle music. Maybe the cartridge was really faulty after all. I also noticed that no attacks appeared on the screen. The only choice I had was to run away. At the time, it kind of annoyed me. Because honestly, who doesn't want to catch a MEW at the beginning of the game? It was my only option, and I didn't want to restart from the last save, so I had to do it. After that, the game continued normally. I went to Celadon City and got the Sylph Scope. When the Pokémon Cemetery mission began, the game started acting up again. I wasn't able to walk freely through the tower. I was teleported straight to the top floor. I told myself I would still try to calm the soul of the Marowak. I looked for it and I found it. The Marowak in question appeared. There was still no music. After I sent my Pikachu into battle, the Marowak turned into MEW. This time I had moves and could attack it to lower its hit points. Even though my Pikachu was much higher level than MEW, it barely damaged it, while MEW never really attacked. I finally reduced its hit points enough to attempt catching it with a Pokeball. I thought that if I caught it, the game would go back to normal, but when I threw the Pokeball, Myuu became one of those odd ghosts you see without the Sylph Scope. Suddenly, on the screen, the message "Ashes out of the game" appeared. That really disturbed me, because my Pikachu was nowhere near fainting. Besides, I still had a lot of Pokémon left on my team. After that message, I thought I heard something behind me, but I was so absorbed in the game that I didn't pay attention to it. I kept going. Instead of restarting at the Pokémon Center, I returned to the top floor of the Lavender Town Cemetery. I noticed Pikachu stopped following me. I went to where I thought the battle would restart, but I was directed, against my will, toward a tombstone, not far from where I had fought before. Once I got in front of it, I pressed A to see if any text would appear. And then I heard melancholic and very distant screams. Then the text appeared. Here lies Pikachu. My Pikachu was dead. Right after I heard the crying, the Satura appeared again. I sent out my Rukanage, and the Satura became Myuu again. This time, Rukanage attacked by itself. Without me doing anything, MEW had just one hit point left. But just before dying, it used the move Destiny Bond. This move defeats the opposing attacker if the user is fatally hit. Since Pidgeot attacked alone again, Myuu dodged the attack. Then he used Curse, leaving him with 0 hit points. And then, the move Destiny Bond worked. It knocked out Pidgeot at the same time as Myuu. I still should have won, since I still had 4 Pokemon left on my team. But instead, I was out of the game again. I wanted to quit, but couldn't. It felt like a joke, yet I was curious how it ended. I found myself on the very top floor of the Pokémon Tower, where I was once again directed to a tombstone. Where this time, my own Carnage was waiting. And once again the same thing happened. It happened again and again with all the other Pokémon on my team, until I had only one left. I thought I was going to be knocked out for good, but my character was invited to fight directly against Myuu. It had become complete nonsense, but once again, something told me not to stop playing. Of course, there was no way for me to attack Myuu since all my Pokémon were dead. And I didn't think it was possible for Myuu to attack me either, since I was playing as my own character. However, Myuu was able to use Curse and Destiny Bond on me. How was it possible for a Pokémon that could normally use its moves on other Pokémon to attack me directly? Obviously, I was immediately out of the game. Then, once again, I heard a noise behind me. I couldn't describe it to you. It sounded like the game itself echoing. So I turned around, but I didn't see anything. I just felt like someone was watching me again. I got chills, but I kept playing anyway, in the game. When I respawned, I was in my room in Pallet Town, not the cemetery. I immediately noticed that my character wasn't normal, he was transparent. Once again, there was no music. I took a few steps in the game, when suddenly my menu opened by itself, and my trainer card appeared. I had no badges, Pokédollars, or Pokémon in my Pokédex. I closed the menu, but it reappeared, showing I had only one Pokémon left. Strangely, there was no sprite, it was invisible. There was also no name next to its health bar. I checked the moves of this mysterious Pokémon and noticed that it only had one move. Teleport. When you use the move Teleport, it teleports you to a random place on the map. After that, I tried to leave my room, but I couldn't. I tried interacting with the map and with the computer on Sasha's desk, but nothing seemed to work. Not really sure where I was going to go, I still used the move Teleport. I appeared again, after a short loading time, in the Pokémon Tower on the very top floor. I was taken to a new tombstone. This time, it was my character's name written on it. It said, "Here lies Ash." That made me angry. Whoever gave that cartridge to the boy, I thought it was truly twisted. I couldn't imagine how much a child could have been affected by this sick game. I was lost and unsure what to do. I walked to where Myuu's fight usually happened. A battle began, but this time it was with my own character, not Myuu. On my side of the screen, a skeletonizer appeared instead of Sasha. I froze, realizing what was about to happen. As Sasha sent out his Pokémon, my skeletonizer turned into MEW. I looked at my list of moves, and I expected to see only the move Teleport. Instead, I had 2 other moves, Curse and Destiny Bond. I was about to kill all my Pokémon, to end with Ash himself. I turned off the console, and within seconds, noticed something reflected in my Game Boy's black screen. I saw the pale face of another person, right next to mine. I quickly stood up, my heart pounding like crazy, and I got as far away as possible from where I was. I searched the room thoroughly, but no one was there. I ended up convincing myself that it was just a simple hallucination. Unsure, I left my house. A bit later, I convinced myself to turn the console back on to check if my save was still there. But the file was corrupted. The little boy never returned to the store for his cartridge. Maybe he just wanted to get rid of it. After all we'd been through, I couldn't blame him. I understood. I know that you'll probably be curious too, just like me. But I insist, if you ever find this game too, I strongly advise you to get rid of it. I don't know what would have happened if I had killed my own Pokémon in the last battle. And in any case, I don't want to know. I'm not sure if what I saw in my console's reflection was real, but I definitely felt its presence during the game and sensed someone watching me play. And what I take away from all this is that there could be tons of reasons why the child was never returned to the store. Honestly, I'm not sure I even want to know what happened to him.